The stars twinkled in the viewing window as Commander John Hayes stared out at the massive alien ship. It dwarfed the human vessel by at least 6 times. Even after 3 months of these meetings, the sight still made his stomach tighten. "Commander, the Viridians are requesting permission to dock," said Lieutenant Pam Morris from her station. "Ambassador Zekthar says he has important news." John nodded. "Grant permission. Let's see what the Confederation wants now." The year was 2157, and humanity had only recently developed faster-than-light travel. Within weeks of their first jump, beyond the solar system, Earth ships had been intercepted by vessels from something called the Galactic Confederation, an alliance of 17 advanced alien species. The aliens had appeared friendly, offering knowledge and technological exchange. Many on Earth celebrated this new era of peace and cooperation. John had never trusted it. He made his way to the docking bay, joined by Dr. Lisa Warren, Earth's leading xenolinguistics expert. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and she carried her specialized translation device. "You look worried," she said. "Just cautious," John replied. "These Confederation types smile too much for people, offering gifts with no strings attached." Lisa nodded. "I've been analyzing their language patterns. There are inconsistencies between what they say and the structural emphasis they place on certain concepts. Meaning they might be lying to us, or at least not telling the whole truth." The airlock opened with a hiss, revealing Ambassador Zekthar. The Viridian stood nearly 7 feet tall, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. His 4 eyes blinked independently of each other, a trait John still found unsettling. "Commander Hayes," the alien said in his musical voice. "Dr. Warren, how pleasant to see you both again." "Ambassador," John nodded. "We weren't expecting you for another week." "Wonderful news couldn't wait," Zekthar said, his thin lips curving in what passed for a smile among his kind. "The Confederation Council has completed its deliberations. Earth has been approved for provisional membership status." Lisa's translation device buzzed softly. She glanced down at it with a slight frown. "That's great news," John said carefully. "What exactly does provisional entail?" "Standard procedure." Zekthar waved a 6-fingered hand dismissively. "Earth will be under the guidance of more established races for a period of approximately 50 of your years. We'll help manage your technological development, resource allocation, and off-world settlements." John kept his face neutral. "Manage?" "For your own protection, of course. The galaxy can be dangerous for young species. We've guided many races through their infancy stage." "I see. And what does Earth provide in return?" Zekthar's upper eyes blinked rapidly. "Your biological diversity is quite extraordinary. We would establish research centers to study your planet's unique ecosystem. We would also recruit suitable humans for service throughout Confederation space." "You mean as workers?" John asked. "As valued contributors," Zekthar corrected smoothly. "Now shall we discuss the formal signing ceremony? The Council suggests Earth's capital would be an appropriate venue." "We'll need to review the full terms first," John said. "Standard procedure? You understand, of course. The complete agreement is quite extensive. I've transmitted it to your systems." After escorting the ambassador to his quarters, John called an emergency meeting in the secure briefing room. Admiral Gregory Clark joined via encrypted channel from Earth, his weathered face grim on the view screen. "Tell me you're not buying this garbage, Hayes," the Admiral said. "Not for a second, sir." "Dr. Warren, what did your translator pick up?" Lisa connected her device to the main screen. "Their language contains subtle modifiers that change meaning based on context. When Zekthar referred to humans as valued contributors, the structural emphasis matched patterns they use when discussing what we would classify as resources or commodities." She pulled up a series of diagrams. "And I found something else. One of our techs managed to partially decrypt some Confederation communications. They don't just want to study our biology, they want to harvest it." "Explain," the Admiral demanded. "They've never seen anything like human adaptability. Our immune systems, our neural plasticity, our genetic diversity. They consider these things rare resources. They're not looking for allies. They're looking for raw materials. John felt cold anger building inside him. And the 50 years of guidance? Time enough to establish complete control over our development and prevent us from becoming a threat, Lisa said. This isn't a membership offer. It's a colonization plan. Admiral Clark's face hardened. Our initial scans of their transmitted agreement confirm this. The language is deliberately obscure, but our legal team has found clauses that would effectively reduce Earth to a protectorate with no real authority. So what do we do? John asked. I've already briefed the United Earth Council. We're calling their bluff. Hayes, you're authorized to deliver our response. The next morning, John and Lisa met with Zekthar in the ship's conference room. The ambassador had brought 2 aides, tall Viridians, who stood silently behind their leader. Commander, have you set a date for the signing ceremony? Zekthar asked pleasantly. John placed a datapad on the table. This is Earth's formal response to the Confederation's offer. Zekthar's 4 eyes widened slightly as he scanned the document. There must be some mistake. This is a rejection. No mistake, Ambassador. Earth appreciates the offer, but declines membership under the proposed terms. The Viridian skin flickered with blue-green patterns, a sign of strong emotion John had learned. This is unprecedented. Perhaps you misunderstand the opportunity being presented. We understand perfectly, Lisa said. We decoded enough of your private communications to know exactly what kind of opportunity you're offering. The aides exchanged alarmed glances as Zekthar's composure cracked. You what? That's impossible. Your species doesn't have the capability to... We have many capabilities you've underestimated, John interrupted. Earth is open to establishing relations with the Confederation, but only as equals, not as a resource to be managed and harvested. Zekthar stood abruptly. This is a grave mistake. No species has ever rejected Confederation membership. The Council will not take this lightly. That's their choice, John said, standing as well. But understand this. Humans value real peace, not submission dressed up as cooperation. We've fought our own kind for freedom countless times throughout our history. We won't hesitate to fight others for the same cause. You have no idea what you're doing, Zekthar hissed. Actually, we do, John said calmly. We're walking away from a bad deal. There's a human saying you might want to remember, Ambassador. Don't mistake our desire for peace as weakness. If the Confederation wants war instead, they'll quickly learn they've awakened something they can't control. After the Viridians departed, John watched their ship pull away from the observation deck. Lisa joined him, her expression troubled. Think they'll attack? She asked. John shook his head. Not right away. They're too shocked that their plan failed. They'll regroup, try to figure out how we saw through their deception, and then we'll be ready, John said. Admiral Clark has already activated the Defender Protocol. Every ship, every station, every colony is preparing. We walked away from their false peace today, but that doesn't mean we're not preparing for war. Lisa looked out at the stars. All my life I dreamed of meeting alien civilizations. I never imagined first contact would lead to this. The Confederation made a critical error, John said quietly. They thought humans would be so grateful for their attention that we'd accept any terms. They don't understand us at all. What happens next? John's eyes hardened as he watched the alien ship disappear into the darkness. Next, we show the galaxy exactly what they've awakened. 8 months had passed since Earth rejected the Confederation's offer. The humans had not wasted a single day. Director Karen Miller stood before the giant screen in Earth Central Command, watching as colored dots moved across a map of nearby star systems. Each dot represented a human ship or outpost. There were many more than there had been just months ago. Status report, she said to the room of busy officers. We've established contact with 3 more non-Confederation species, replied her assistant, a young man named Jeff. 2 of them want to trade with us. 1 has already provided detailed maps of Confederation patrol routes. Karen nodded with satisfaction. The Confederation had expected humans to hide on Earth, afraid and isolated. Instead, humans had done what they always did when facing a threat. They adapted and prepared. "What about the SHIELD project?" she asked. "Chief Engineer Alan Foster wants to speak with you about that," Jeff said, tapping his tablet. "Connecting now." The main screen changed to show a tired-looking man in his 50s with messy gray hair and oil stains on his shirt. Behind him, a large device pulsed with blue light. "Director Miller," Alan said, his face breaking into an excited smile. "We did it. The prototype works. You've successfully reversed-engineered the Viridian shield technology." "Not just reversed-engineered," Alan said proudly. "We improved it. Their shields operate on a single energy frequency. Ours rotate through 12 different patterns. It makes them nearly impossible to calibrate weapons against." Karen couldn't help smiling. "How long until we can outfit our ships?" "Production starts next week. Major vessels will have the new shields within 2 months." After the call ended, Karen walked to the secure meeting room where General Scott Baker waited. The general was, checking reports on his tablet when she entered. "You're going to like this," she said, and briefed him on the shield breakthrough. Scott nodded thoughtfully. "Good timing. Our spies report the Confederation Council is arguing about how to handle us. The Viridians want immediate military action, but other species are hesitant." "They still think we're primitive," Karen said, "even after we saw through their treaty trap." "That arrogance gives us time," Scott replied. "How are our special operations teams performing?" Karen pulled up another report. "Diplomat Maria Rodriguez has established 3 secret trading posts in neutral territory. The Confederation doesn't even know they exist. And our intelligence network? Growing daily. Turns out several smaller species resent Confederation control. They're happy to share information with us." Scott looked pleased. "The Confederation expects us to act like cornered animals. Defensive, predictable, easy to trap. They have no idea what's coming." Across the galaxy, on a planet called Viridia Prime, Ambassador Zekthar faced an angry council. The circular chamber held representatives from all 17 Confederation species. Most looked displeased. "You assured us the humans would accept our terms," said Counselor Drax, a reptilian alien with red scales. "Yet here we are 8 months later, no closer to acquiring their biological resources." "The humans proved more perceptive than anticipated," Zekthar admitted. "But they are still primitive. They have nowhere to turn for allies." A small, furry counselor named Mirok made a chirping sound of disagreement. "Our intelligence suggests humans have contacted the Praxi and the Voltar systems. Both are known dissenters. Minor species of no importance," Zekthar dismissed with a wave. "The humans have also been surprisingly quiet," observed another counselor. "No attempts at further negotiation. No pleas for reconsideration." "They are hiding in fear," Zekthar insisted. "Give me permission to send a small fleet to their system. One show of force, and they will beg for our protection." After debate, the council approved his plan, though several members remained uncertain. Back on Earth, Maria Rodriguez stepped off her ship after returning from her latest mission. She had spent 3 weeks on a distant trading outpost, meeting with aliens who had their own reasons to distrust the Confederation. "How did it go?" asked Captain Steve Mitchell, who had been assigned to escort her back safely. "Better than expected," Maria said, her dark eyes bright with excitement. "I met representatives from 5 different systems. All of them have grievances against the Confederation." "Potential allies?" "More like sources of information for now. But I did secure access to Tyrelian cloaking technology." Steve whistled softly. "The Confederation thinks that tech is their exclusive domain." "The Tyrelians disagree," Maria smiled. "They've been forced to share their innovations without fair compensation for centuries. They were quite happy to trade directly with us instead." They walked through the busy spaceport. Everywhere, humans worked alongside alien visitors, sharing knowledge and resources. "It's amazing how quickly things have changed," Steve said. "First contact was barely a year ago." "Humans adapt quickly," Maria replied. "It's what the Confederation doesn't understand about us. They see our short history of space travel and think we're inexperienced. They don't realize our entire history on Earth prepared us for this. How so? We've faced extinction-level threats before, from nature, from each other. Each time we've survived by adapting and overcoming. Later that day, Earth's Leadership Council met to discuss new intelligence. Admiral Gregory Clark presented the latest findings. Our deep space sensors detected Confederation fleet movements, he announced. They're gathering ships near the border of our system. How many? John Hayes asked. He had been promoted after his confrontation with Zekthar. Approximately 30 vessels, mostly mid-sized cruisers with a few larger command ships. They're testing us, General Baker said, seeing if we'll panic. What's our response? Karen, Miller asked. Admiral Clark displayed a strategic map. We've positioned our new stealth ships here just beyond their sensor range. Captain Mitchell will command the Shadow Fleet. And our allies? Asked Lisa Warren, who now led Earth's Alien Communications Division. The Praxi have provided advanced targeting systems, Maria Rodriguez replied. The Voltar have shared their repair nanites. Several other species have contributed smaller technologies. John Hayes studied the map carefully. The Confederation expects to find a primitive species cowering behind outdated defenses. Instead, they'll find an organized force with technology they thought we couldn't possibly have. We should broadcast a final warning, Lisa suggested. Give them one last chance to turn back, Admiral Clark nodded. Agreed, but I doubt they'll listen. Their arrogance blinds them, John said. They still think of us as animals to be herded. They have no idea that they've awakened a beast. As the meeting concluded, Earth's defense systems silently tracked the approaching Confederation fleet. In labs across the planet, engineers worked to integrate alien technologies with human innovation. In secret bases, soldiers trained with new weapons. In diplomatic outposts, humans forged unlikely alliances with other species who had suffered under Confederation rule. The stars no longer seemed peaceful and welcoming to humanity. But humans had never needed peace handed to them. They had always been willing to fight for their freedom, to sacrifice for their future. And now, as the Confederation ships approached, they prepared to show the galaxy exactly what happened when someone mistook humanity's desire for peace as weakness. The Confederation fleet entered the solar system with confidence. Commander Zrilvok stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominant Will, watching as his 30 ships moved in perfect formation toward Earth. His gray skin tightened around, his mouth in what his species considered a smile. Status report, he ordered. All ships in position, Commander, his first officer replied. No sign of significant human defenses. Their primitive satellites are tracking us, but they appear to have only 12 warships in orbit. Zrilvox felt disappointed. He had hoped for at least some resistance. The Council had authorized this show of force to bring the humans back to the negotiating table. A quick surrender would rob him of the glory he sought. Open a channel to their leaders, he ordered. Let's see how quickly they beg for mercy. On Earth, in the Central Defense Command, Admiral Gregory Clark watched the approaching fleet with a calm expression. Beside him stood Captain Steve Mitchell and Lieutenant Eric Daniels, a young officer whose family had been killed in a previous alien encounter. They're hailing us, sir, a communications officer reported. On screen, Admiral Clark ordered. Commander Exrilvox's face appeared on the large display. His alien features showed confidence and disdain. People of Earth, he began, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into English. Your rejection of Confederation protection has been deemed unacceptable. You face superior forces with advanced technology beyond your comprehension. Surrender now and accept our original terms or face the consequences. Admiral Clark stepped forward. This is Admiral Clark of Earth Defense. We asked for peaceful relations as equals. You responded with threats. We will not surrender. Xrilvox's skin rippled with amusement. Your bravery is admirable but foolish. You have 1 Earth hour to reconsider before we begin disabling your defenses. The transmission ended. Lieutenant Daniels clenched his fists. They're so confident, he said through gritted teeth. Good, replied Captain Mitchell. Confidence makes them careless. Admiral Clark turned to his officers. Begin Operation Ambush and contact Vice Admiral Collins. Tell her it's time. In orbit above Earth, the 12 visible human ships appeared to scramble in disorganized patterns. The Confederation fleet moved, closer, their weapons powering up but not yet firing. On the bridge of the dominant will, Xrilvox watched with growing excitement. Look at them scatter, he said. They're panicking already. Sir, his sensor officer called out, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the human vessels. Explain. They appear to be. The officer stopped suddenly, staring at his console in confusion. Sir, new contacts appearing, many new contacts. Xrilvox rushed to the sensor station. The screen showed dozens of ships appearing seemingly out of nowhere surrounding his fleet. Impossible, he shouted. Where did they come from? In the darkness of space behind the Confederation fleet, Captain Steve Mitchell sat on the bridge of the Shadow, Earth's first stealth vessel. Around him, 20 similar ships had just deactivated their cloaking technology. All ships, this is Captain Mitchell, weapons-free, target engines and weapon systems only. Vice Admiral Deborah Collins coordinated the attack from her command vessel. Execute Pattern Delta. Remember, we want to capture as many ships intact as possible. The human ships fired with unexpected precision. Their weapons cut through the Confederation shields with ease. On the dominant will, alarms blared as systems failed across the ship. How are they penetrating our shields? Xrilvox demanded. Unknown. Commander, their weapons are cycling through multiple frequencies faster than our shields can adapt. More alarms sounded as human vessels appeared on all sides, herding the Confederation fleet into a tighter formation. Launch fighters, Xrilvox ordered. Fighter bays not responding. We're being jammed. In Earth's command center, Lieutenant Eric Daniels monitored the battle from his station. All targets are contained, he reported. Minimal casualties on both sides. Admiral Clark nodded with approval. Begin Phase 2. Eric pressed a button on his console. Transmitting now. On every Confederation ship, the communication systems suddenly activated. The faces of their own species appeared on their screens, speaking directly to the crews in their native languages. This is not your fight, the messages said. The Confederation Council has deceived you. Humans do not wish to harm you. Power down your weapons and you will be treated fairly. The psychological effect was immediate. Confusion spread through the Confederation fleet as crew members heard what seemed to be their own people asking them to stand down. What trickery is this? Xrilvox demanded, watching as his crew hesitated at their stations. Sir, his communications officer said shakily, I'm receiving surrender signals from 5 of our ships. Cowards. Xrilvox slammed his fist on his command chair. No species has this technology. It's impossible. But more and more of his ships were powering down their weapons. The human vessels continued their precise attacks, disabling engines and weapon systems without destroying ships or killing crew. Within 40 minutes, half the Confederation fleet had surrendered. Xrilvox watched in horror as human boarding parties entered the surrendered vessels, securing them with minimal violence. Retreat, he finally ordered. All remaining ships, retreat immediately. But as the surviving ships turned to flee, they discovered new human vessels blocking their escape route. There was nowhere to go. On Earth, crowds gathered around public screens watching the battle unfold. Cheers erupted as news of the Confederation's defeat spread. Admiral Clark did not cheer. He knew this was only the beginning. Open a channel. To Commander Xrilvox, he ordered. When the alien commander appeared on screen, his gray skin had darkened with stress. This is impossible, Xrilvox said before Clark could speak. Your species does not have this technology. You underestimated us, Admiral Clark replied simply, a common mistake when dealing with humans. What are your terms? Xrilvox asked bitterly. Unconditional surrender of your remaining vessels. Your crews will be treated well and eventually returned to their homes. And if I refuse? Then we continue dismantling your ships piece by piece until you have no choice. We prefer not to kill your people, but we will if necessary. Xrilvox stared in disbelief. Who helped you? The Praxi? The Voltar? We helped ourselves, Clark replied. Though we found friends among those your Confederation has mistreated. After the last Confederation ship surrendered, Captain Mitchell and Lieutenant Daniels joined Admiral Clark in the command center. What happens now? Eric asked. Now, Clark said, the real work begins. The Confederation won't take this defeat lightly. They'll return with a larger force once they realize what's happened. Will we be ready? Steve asked. Admiral Clark looked at the screens showing captured Confederation vessels being secured by human teams. Thanks to their arrogance, we now have their ships, their technology, and their tactics. We'll learn everything we can. And when they return, they'll find us even better prepared. As news of the Confederation's defeat spread across the galaxy, many species watched with stunned disbelief, some with fear, some with hope. The humans had not just defended themselves. They had revealed themselves as a force unlike any the galaxy had seen before, a species that combined innovation with restraint, strength with mercy. The Confederation had awakened something they did not understand, and the galaxy would never be the same. News of the human victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On the Confederation capital world, the council chambers erupted in chaos as the 17 member species argued about how to respond. This is unprecedented, shouted the Viridian representative, his blue skin flashing with angry patterns. No emerging species has ever defeated a Confederation battle group. Perhaps we should consider negotiating with the humans as equals, suggested a small, furry counselor from the Mirok species. Never, the Viridian countered. We must assemble the Grand Fleet immediately. These humans must be taught their place in the galactic order. Back on Earth, 6 months had passed since the battle. President Laura Bennett addressed the United Earth Council in the rebuilt United Nations building in New York. Large windows showed the busy skyline where human and alien ships now traveled freely. The captured Confederation vessels have provided us with valuable intelligence, she said to the gathered representatives. We now understand their strengths and weaknesses much better. But more importantly, we've made contact with 23 species who feel oppressed by Confederation rule. A council member stood. What does our intelligence suggest the Confederation will do next? President Bennett nodded to Admiral Frank Morrison, who stepped forward. The tall, broad-shouldered man had a serious face that rarely smiled. The Confederation is mobilizing their main fleet, he stated. Our sources indicate they plan to attack Earth with overwhelming force within 3 months. Murmurs of concern filled the chamber. Another council member spoke up. Can we win against their main fleet? Not in a conventional battle, Admiral Morrison admitted, but we don't plan to fight conventionally. He activated a holographic display showing various star systems. While the Confederation prepares their direct assault, we've been implementing what we call the human doctrine. The display highlighted dozens of small points of light throughout Confederation space. These are our stealth outposts, established near key Confederation worlds. They're equipped with our latest technology and staffed with small elite teams. What's their purpose? Someone asked. To demonstrate that we could strike anywhere, anytime, but choose not to harm civilians, President Bennett explained. We're showing the galaxy there's a better way than Confederation domination. Dr. Jack Williams, the leading expert on alien psychology, stepped forward next. His kind eyes and gentle voice contrasted with the serious military discussion. The Confederation's control relies on fear and the belief that they are technologically superior to all other species, he explained. Our strategy attacks both these pillars. By showing mercy to captured crews and offering alliance to oppressed worlds, we undermine their fear tactics. By demonstrating superior technology, we destroy the myth of their supremacy. In a distant part of the galaxy, on a planet called Krell, diplomat Nicole Turner met with representatives from 5 non-Confederation species. The meeting took place in a secret underground chamber, away from Confederation spies. Humans have offered us a choice the Confederation never did, she told the gathered aliens. We don't seek to rule you or exploit your resources. We propose a true alliance of equals. A tall insect-like being clicked its mandibles thoughtfully. Your species defeated a Confederation battle group, yet you returned the captured crews unharmed. This is unusual behavior for victors. Humans believe true strength comes from cooperation, not dominance, Nicole explained. We've learned this through our own difficult history. The Confederation will not surrender their power willingly, warned a reptilian alien with iridescent scales. We know, Nicole acknowledged. That's why we're building what we call the Free Species Alliance. Together we can create a new future for the galaxy. As these discussions happened across many worlds, the Confederation's main fleet assembled near their central military base. 500 warships prepared for the journey to Earth. High Admiral Voxthar, brother of the ambassador who had first approached Earth, addressed his fleet commanders from the bridge of his massive dreadnought. The humans have become a disease, spreading through our territory, he snarled. They corrupt our member worlds with talk of freedom and equality. Their technology should not exist. Someone must be helping them. Our scouts report their defenses have improved significantly, one commander reported. They've established a defensive line around their entire solar system. It will not save them, Voxthar replied dismissively. Our numbers will overwhelm them. What the Confederation didn't know was that humans had expected this response. While the alien fleet gathered, human agents were already implementing the next phase of their plan. On Earth's moon base, Lieutenant Eric Daniels led a team monitoring Confederation communications. His experiences had made him an expert on their military frequencies. They're completely focused on a frontal assault, he reported to Admiral Morrison. They expect us to be hiding behind our defensive line. Admiral Morrison nodded. Perfect. They haven't learned anything from their first defeat. Shadow Fleet is in position, reported Captain Steve Mitchell from his stealth vessel deep in Confederation space. Operation Fracture can begin on your command. Execute, ordered Admiral Morrison. Across Confederation territory, precisely coordinated events began to unfold. On 17 key worlds, power systems suddenly failed. Military communications went silent. Navigation beacons gave false readings. No weapons were fired. No lives were lost. But the message was clear. Humans could have attacked military targets throughout Confederation space at any time. As confusion spread through the Confederation fleet, encrypted messages appeared on the personal devices of every ship captain. The messages were simple. This is not a war you can win. We could have struck your homeworlds but chose not to harm civilians. The Confederation Council has lied to you about human intentions. We offer peace between equals, not submission. Each message included proof of Confederation deception, secret council communications revealing plans to exploit other species, including their own member worlds. On his flagship, High Admiral Voxthar received reports of growing unrest throughout his fleet. 3 destroyer groups are refusing orders to advance, his communications officer reported nervously. Cowards! Traitors! Voxthar raged. Any ship that does not follow command will be fired upon. This threat only increased the dissent. Within hours, nearly a third of the fleet had broken formation, their captains demanding answers about the human revelations. As the Confederation fleet fell into disarray, representatives from 28 species gathered on a neutral world. Diplomat Nicole Turner presented the charter for the new Free Species Alliance. This alliance is founded on principles of mutual respect and cooperation, she explained. Each member maintains their sovereignty while contributing to our common defense and prosperity. One by one, representatives stepped forward to sign the document. With each signature, the balance of power in the galaxy shifted further. Back on Earth, President Bennett received news of the growing alliance with satisfaction. How long before the Confederation realizes they've lost? She asked Admiral Morrison. Some already understand, he replied. Their fleet is fracturing. Several captains have requested asylum with the Alliance. And Voxthar? Still determined to attack, but with diminishing support. His pride won't let him accept defeat. President Bennett looked thoughtful. The true test of humanity's wisdom isn't how we fight our enemies, but how we treat them when they no longer threaten us. Across the stars, a new reality was taking shape. The Confederation's power was not broken, but it was severely weakened. The Free Species Alliance grew stronger each day, and at the center of this transformation stood humanity, a species that had walked away from false peace only to forge a path toward something better. The galaxy was beginning to understand exactly what kind of beast it had awakened. Not a mindless destroyer, but a force for profound change. 1 year after the failed Confederation assault, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The massive Confederation fleet had never launched its attack on Earth. Instead, it had splintered, with many ships and their crews defecting to join the Free Species Alliance. Grand Admiral William Summers stood on the observation deck of the Earth ship Peacemaker, the largest vessel humans had ever built. Beside him stood Council Elder Trellnox, once a moderate voice in the Confederation leadership, now a key ally to humanity. "I never imagined I would live to see such changes," Trellnox said, his 4 eyes blinking slowly as he gazed at the space station they were approaching. The massive structure floated at a neutral point between former Confederation space and Earth's territory. "Change was inevitable," William replied. "The Confederation's approach was unsustainable. No system built on exploitation can last forever." Below them, ships from dozens of species docked at the station. Some were former enemies, now cautious allies. Others were longtime friends. All were gathering for the historic first meeting of the Galactic Congress. "There are still those who resist," Trellnox warned. "The Viridian hardliners have taken control of nearly 100 worlds. They call themselves the True Confederation." William nodded grimly. "We know. They've rejected all attempts at peaceful communication." On the station, Dr. Julia Patterson made final preparations for the introduction of her life's work. The small, determined woman had spent months developing what she called the Harmony Protocol, a framework for genuine cooperation between vastly different species. "Is the translation system working properly?" she asked her assistant. "Yes, Dr. Patterson. All 27 languages will be translated simultaneously." Julia checked her notes one last time. Everything she had learned about alien psychology, communication, and cooperation was contained in the protocol. It wasn't just a peace treaty, it was a new way for diverse species to interact as equals. In another part of the station, Ambassador Ryan Cooper met with representatives from former Confederation worlds. The tall, calm diplomat had earned respect across the galaxy for his fairness and honest approach. "Earth will not seek leadership of the Congress," he explained to the gathered aliens. "We believe all voices should have equal weight in our new alliance." A Viridian diplomat looked skeptical. "You have the military power to dominate. Why share authority?" "Because true peace doesn't come from dominance," Ryan explained. "It comes from mutual respect and cooperation. Humanity learned this lesson through centuries of conflict on our own world." The Viridian seemed confused by this concept, but many other species nodded in understanding. As the time for the Congress approached, President Laura Bennett arrived at the station. Her shuttle docked alongside vessels from 42 different worlds. Security was tight. Not everyone in the galaxy welcomed this new order. "Status report," she requested as her security team escorted her through the station. "All delegations have arrived except the Praxi," her aide reported. "They were delayed by a mechanical issue but should arrive within the hour." "And our intelligence on the True Confederation?" "They're gathering forces near the Vega sector but show no signs of moving against the Congress." Laura nodded. "Let's hope they choose diplomacy over conflict. We've had enough fighting." But even as she spoke, alarms blared throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed and security teams rushed to defensive positions. "Madam President, we need to get you to safety," her chief security officer urged. "We've detected multiple unauthorized ships approaching at high speed." In the station's control center, Grand Admiral Summers received the alert. 6 Viridian warships have dropped out of faster-than-light travel, a sensor operator reported. "They're on an attack vector." "All ships defensive positions," William ordered calmly. "Activate shield network but do not fire unless fired upon." On the lead Viridian ship, High Admiral Voxthar prepared for his final strike against the humans who had humiliated his people. His crew was composed of loyal Viridian extremists who believed in Confederation supremacy. "Target the station's central hub," he commanded. "Destroy their precious Congress before it begins." His weapons officer hesitated. "Sir, there are representatives from 17 species on that station, including our own." "They are traitors," Voxthar snarled. "Fire." But as his ships launched their attack, something unexpected happened. Their weapons hit an invisible barrier and dissipated harmlessly. No matter how many times they fired, nothing penetrated the shield surrounding the station. "Impossible," Voxthar shouted. "No shield can withstand this level of bombardment." On the Peacemaker, Dr. Julia Patterson stood next to a small device emitting a soft blue glow. "The Harmony field is holding," she reported. "Their weapons cannot penetrate it." William nodded with satisfaction. "Open a channel to Voxthar's ship." When the Viridian Admiral appeared on screen, his skin was dark with rage. "This is your final warning," William said simply. "Power down your weapons or we will be forced to disable your vessels." "You bluff," Voxthar hissed. "If you could destroy us, you would have done so already." William shook his head. "We don't want to destroy you. That's what you still don't understand about humans. We could have obliterated the Confederation months ago, but we chose a different path." As he spoke, Voxthar received an urgent message from his sensor officer. Dozens of human stealth ships had decloaked around his small fleet, their weapons ready but not firing. "You're surrounded," William continued, "but we're still offering you a choice. Join us, or leave in peace. We will not fire first." For a long moment, the Viridian Admiral stared in disbelief. Then, without warning, one of his own ships broke formation and powered down its weapons. "What are you doing?" Voxthar demanded of its captain. "Choosing a better future," came the reply. "The humans have proven themselves. It's time to end this." One by one, the other ships followed suit until only Voxthar's flagship remained hostile. Finally, realizing he was alone, he gave the order to stand down. Hours later, the first session of the Galactic Congress began. Representatives from 43 species gathered in the Great Chamber. President Bennett did not take the central position, but instead sat among the delegates as an equal. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history," Council Elder Trellnox announced as he opened the proceedings. "For too long the Confederation ruled through fear and exploitation. Today we choose cooperation over domination." Dr. Patterson presented the Harmony Protocol, explaining how each species could contribute their unique strengths while respecting others' sovereignty. Ambassador Cooper outlined a fair system of trade and exchange that benefited all worlds, not just the powerful. When the time came to choose leadership for the Congress, many expected humans to claim the position. Instead, Earth proposed a rotating council with representatives from all member worlds. "We didn't fight to replace one ruler with another," President Bennett explained. "We fought to create something new, a galaxy where all species can thrive together." As the session ended, Grand Admiral Summers and Council Elder Trellnox stood again at the observation window, watching ships depart for their home worlds. "The Viridians still don't understand you," Trellnox said. "They think your restraint is weakness." William smiled slightly. "Let them think that. In time they'll learn what the rest of the galaxy now knows." "And what is that?" the Elder asked. "That humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our vision of what the galaxy could be." Across the stars, word spread of the new Galactic Congress and the species that had made it possible. Humans who had walked away from false peace and awakened a new hope for genuine harmony among the stars.